Hello and welcome to the Sunday special Shunya Talks, where we discuss on the Ekotara Agama, which has been translated from Sanskrit to Chinese by Gautama Sanghadeva during the Kusha Empire, and is being translated from Chinese to English under the leadership of Dr. Lim by the SIF translation department. So I am fortunate enough today to be here as Dhruv goes for his higher studies. That I am here to lead today's session. I am Dr. Harmanjeet. I am from DXN Clinics. I am a physiotherapist there. And today we have Dr. Rajesh Savera with us in the studio. Dr. Lim is also quite busy today. So we hope he will join by the end, but we'll see if he's able to make it or not. So before we start today's session, we would like to go for our 9 to 0 Shunya meditation. So last week we did 16.1 and 16.2. We will continue from 16.2 16.3 today.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Harman. And it's pleasure to have you in the studio now. As we know that Dhruv has gone for his studying now, he has to focus on that.
Yeah.
And since you will be leading it, so you can read through the verses while, if need be, we will go for an explanation. And we will expect Dr. Lim to join us in the end of the session. Today, Dr. Lim is busy. He's just traveling, just reached Singapore. I got a text from him.
Okay.
So anyways, let's go with EA 16.3, okay?
Yeah.
So can you help me read through?
Yes.
Yeah.
So EA 16.3, the crow. Thus I have heard. One time the Buddha was staying at Anandpindida's ashrama in Jetwana of Shravasti. At that time, the Bhagwan said to the bhikshus, "Now I shall give a smile of the crow, and I shall also give a smile of the pig. Reflect on this carefully, and I will explain it in detail." They replied, "Yes, Bhagwan." At that time, the bhikshus received the Buddha's teaching. The Bhagwan said, "What does it mean to say that a person is like a crow? Just as there is a person who dwells in solitude yet constantly indulges in sensual desires and commits evil deeds. Later, feeling ashamed and remorseful, they confess and reveal their actions to other. Why is this so? It is because they may be criticized by those who practice the noble life, who says, 'This person indulges in desires and engages in wrongdoing.' Thus, after committing evil deeds, they seek to confess, feeling shame and remorse. Just like a crow that constantly suffers from hunger, it eats impure things and then immediately wipes its beak, fearing that other birds might see and say, 'This crow eats filth.' In the same way, there is a person who, while dwelling in solitude, indulges in sensual desires and commit unwholesome deeds. Later, feeling ashamed and remorseful, they confess and disclose their action to the others. Why is it so? It is because they may be recognized and criticized by those who practice the noble life, who say, 'This person indulges in desires and engages in wrongdoing.' This is what is meant by saying that a person is like a crow. And what does it mean to say that a person is like a pig? There is a person who, while dwelling in solitude, continuously indulges in sensual desires and engages in wrongdoing. Yet, they feel neither shame nor remorse. Instead of repenting, they boast about themselves and arrogantly proclaims, 'I am able to enjoy the five sensual pleasures, while these others cannot.' Even after committing evil deeds, they feel no shame. Such a person is like a pig. constantly feeding on filth, lying in unclean places, joyfully leaping towards other pigs. In the same way, there is a person who indulges in sensual desires and engages in wrongdoing, yet feel no shame and remorse. Instead, they boast about themselves and arrogantly proclaims, I am able to enjoy the five sensual pleasures while these other cannot. This is what is meant by saying that a person is like a pig. Therefore, bhikshus, you should abandon such behaviors and keep your distance from it. Thus,
Yes. Yeah, yeah. Please,
thus,
please.
thus, bhikshus, you should train yourself this way. When the bhikshus heard what the Buddha said, they followed it with joy. Yeah.
You see, Harman, this is very interesting. You see, Buddha is giving a simile, okay? It's not a smile, it's a simile. Simile is something that you want to compare. So, Buddha's unique way was if he wanted to compare, he compared with something that was more in the animal kingdom, much more like what our Dr. Lim does.
Yes.
He will say those babas or practitioners are like donkeys or like monkeys,
Yeah.
no offense against these animals, but they become a good example because they are in a kind of a loop or continuous behavioral pattern that you can see in an animal. So anybody who has this continuous behavioral pattern and they live in that behavioral pattern can be compared to an animal because animals live in a particular behavioral pattern. And now Buddha is talking about these two types of people. One, he's calling them a crow. The other one, he's calling them a
Pig.
pig. Now, when you look at a crow, now you can see how observant Buddha was at that time when he was looking around, because solitude doesn't mean you sit there do nothing. Solitude means you start seeing things around you, and you can see a lot of loops around you. You can see a lot of behavior around patterns that you can see. And then when these patterns become something that you can now relate to other people, then you are able to compare. And Buddha was able to do that. And very nicely, he said that there are people, some people like the crow, because crow has this habit, it feeds on filth. You see, it's
Yeah.
a scavenger, right? It feeds on whatever is available, whatever dead is there. But if you look at a crow very properly, and I'm surprised because when we were young, when we look at a crow, I always saw it cleaning its beak. I used to
Yes,
think
yes.
it is sharpening, but it has this habit of cleaning the beak on the bark of a tree or the branch of a tree. Now when you look at it, when you see that, maybe that's just a process to clean himself up, but Buddha is saying that the crow is doing that because he knows that other birds who will look at him should not know what he ate,
Yeah.
should not know, so he's ashamed. So there is something called shame, when we know that when these sensual desires are not the noble way, when you engage and get attached and then lead yourself into suffering, that's not the right way. Then, just to make sure that the noble path is not missed, somebody who does it is ashamed of it. And he goes and confesses this, saying that this is what I've done. Okay. And then he cleans himself up by saying that. So he confesses. So you see, many a time a confession can be a resolution for many of your guilt that lives breeding inside you. So confess is the way to clean yourself. And then that confession also puts you into a path that you will not repeat the cycle again. Okay, but there
Yeah.
are people, Buddha says, which are not like that. Okay, they are like which? A
Pig.
pig. Yeah. Now, a pig is, you see, you clean a pig, you wash it clean, and then again leave it in the dirt, in a nice area. It'll still go and it'll dirty itself
Yes.
because that's the nature of a pig. And there are people like that, they know that this is going to take me to hell, this is going to put me down, but they still are so much in that mode, animal mode of a pig, that they'll again and again do that. And not only do that, they boast about it. They find pleasure in showing the world. A pig is never ashamed. So I know a story where they say the difference between a guru walking and a pig walking. The audience respect both equally. So there is this people sitting, and one day the audience was sitting, and the guru walks in. So everybody just give way and they give him that respect. So the guru one day said, "Okay, thank you so much for the respect, but I hope you do the same with everything that comes along."
Yeah.
They say, "No, no, we do it only for the guru." Then I think from somewhere a pig comes in. Then everybody go aside. So you say, "You treat me and him similar." No,
Yeah.
one is for respect, the other is you feel disgust about it.
Yeah.
So when you do things, sometimes even a pig, he's not disgusted about it. He can
Mm-mm.
go about it, showcasing his behavior, showcasing, and there are people like that who do this. And Buddha says this is not the way. So when you're practicing, when you do shunya, there will be times where you will transgress, where you will fall. It's like walking. It's not that you'll take the first step and you'll learn to balance. Same is that when you're on the path now of transformation, on the path of self realization, on the path of the shunya practice, there will be times where you will falter.
Mm.
Okay. Shame will help you to be on that path. Confession for yourself will help you to be on that path. But if you become arrogant, if you become, okay, so what, and that, then you're like the pig. So Buddha says, let's take the example from the crow
Crow
and the
and the
pig
pig.
and learn what character we are and then choose which one we want to be.
Very beautiful.
Beautiful, right?
So if we confess and then we contemplate.
Exactly. Because confession will always come that you have realized it. Because remember, Shunya is the practice of realization.
Realization.
Buddha was a self realized person, the awakened person. So, realization is the ultimate thing. And only the one who can confess has actually realized it.
Yes.
And you should appreciate the fact. I think in Christianity, there are always these confession
Yes,
boxes
yes, yes.
where people who can actually go and confess to the
Confess.
priest that this is what happened, and Father will then listen to his side. They even don't know who is saying that, but they go and confess. So many a time, a confession is like blowing out, and that's where you can just let go of all that burden that you carry of
Mm-mm.
guilt, of shame. So I think in your practice also that's the same thing. So when we misaccount, when we do something wrong, when we think it is not right on the path, it is disturbing me, you should be able to confess first to yourself, then to the most important people who you think are worthy of confession. You cannot go and tell it to everyone.
Everyone. Yep.
Okay, not everybody is capable of understanding you, so you need to choose your teacher, your guide properly.
Oh, okay. We'll continue with EA 16.4, the
I
donkey.
Yeah, so I
So
think the whole today we have the animal kingdom with us.
yes,
Okay,
and you were even giving example of donkey. The
yeah.
doctor gives.
So
Doctor
I
Lim
don't
gives
know
an.
if Dr. Lim was here. I'm sure he would be super happy. Maybe in the end we just summarize to him that these are the animals that we encountered today.
Yes,
Okay, let's go with the donkey.
the donkey. Yeah. Thus, I have heard. One time, the Buddha was staying at Anand Pindida's ashrama in Jetavana of Shravasti. At that time, the Bhagwan said to the bhikshus, I will now explain how some people are like donkey and while others are like oxen. Listen carefully and reflect deeply. The bhikshus replied, Yes, Bhagwan. At that time, bhikshus received the Buddha's teaching. The Bhagwan said, What does it mean for a person to be like a donkey? If there is a person who shaves their hair and beard, puts on 3 robes, and with firm faith leave the household life to practice the path, yet their faculties remain unsettled. When their eyes sees form, they immediately follows those perception, their mind wandering and in countless directions. At that time, their eye faculty is impure, giving rise to chaotic thoughts, unable to exercise restraint. Many kind of evil arise, and they fail to guard their eye faculty. Similarly, when their ears hear sound, when their nose smells scent, when their tongue tastes flavor, when their body feels sensation, when their mind perceives thought, they give rise to deluded awareness, their mind wandering in countless directions. At that time, their mind faculty is impure, giving rise to chaotic thoughts, unable to exercise restraint. Many kinds of evil arise and they fall and they fail to guard their mind faculty. So I would like to take a break here.
Yeah,
So they are telling that all the senses are your faculty,
yeah.
and you should be in control of the faculty, not the faculty be control of you.
Yeah, because if you look at your senses, senses, they are driven to an object, right? As a subject, if your senses are going to move to every object that needs, it is interested, so you will be wandering. Your
Hmm.
mind cannot go everywhere because mind can be with one of the senses. One at a time is okay, but all your five senses are, somebody wants to, the skin wants to feel the touch, the eyes want to see something, the ears want to hear something. So this you can say the chaos is where the confusion begins and the delusion starts. So one has to be guard to the senses, and the only guard is your mind. If your mind is not guarding, then the mind itself will be wandering in thoughts, and the senses after all their sense objects. And
Okay.
hence it is said here, they very nicely Buddha has put, that what is it? He's talking about the donkey. Okay, but if there is a person who shaves their hair and beard. Now, in those days, Buddha was running a sangha. This was like a university where
Hmm.
people came to study, to understand and transform their conditional state into a new conditional state wherein they are not carrying any of these impurities or faculties of not having control on themselves. Because suffering is when you lose control to manage, right? If you're driving a car and you're controlling it, it's not a nuisance.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure, right? It's something that you will appreciate. But imagine you don't know how to drive it and you lose control of it. Then just a simple thing like your brake gets failed. Now that same car, which was actually your car, which was giving you happiness and pleasure, becomes the source of worry and stress and strain.
Yeah.
Now you are only worried that you will be hitting somebody. What will happen? I cannot stop. Now that is because you got out of control. Now the guarding has gone. The control has been lost. And here Buddha says is when you know, come to my classes. You have shaven your hair and beard. You have taken the three robes. That means you have taken admission into a particular, course for
Hmm.
transforming your life. And this can be applied in today's life that you take up a vow or you take up a decision. You want to study something. You want to do something in life. You want to set up a goal and you have taken that decision, then why do you falter? Because he says that when your senses go after forms, your ears after sounds, your nose after scents, tongue after flavors,
Flavors.
body after sensations, and mind in thoughts, just mentally thinking and not engaging with the real situation,
Yeah.
then such a person has failed to guard the faculties, the six sensual faculties. And that is why it is but natural for this person to wander and live in chaotic conditions, live in complete confusion, and be in a deluded state.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah. So let's continue.
Yeah.
They lack proper demeanor and decorum, failing to observe the appropriate conduct in walking, standing, sitting, lying down, bending, stretching, lowering, raising, and even in handling their robes at arm's bowl. They completely go against the precepts and are thus criticized by true renunciants. Alas, this foolish person only appears to be a renunciant in form. They are uh,
Reprimanded.
reprimanded. If they were truly a renunciant, they should not behave in such a manner.
Yeah, let me stop here. So when you're looking at it now as a student, they need to have proper demeanor,
Demeanor.
like how you are presenting yourself,
Yeah.
decorum, that is the discipline that follows. They have to appropriate how they walk, how they stand, how they sit, how they lie down, how they bend, how they stretch, how they lower their hands, their themselves, then the raising, and even in handling their robes and arms both. If they are not disciplined, they are not careful, do you think they're going to achieve
No.
that awareness that they're seeking out? No, because they're careless. And one who is careless is just trying to show off that he's good. And we can see that in the fake behavior. So they completely go against the precepts, the Shila that we have. See, they are not able to follow the Shila and are thus criticized. They are being criticized by who? The true ones, the real ones, who are actually following all that and are in complete awareness. Then they say, alas, the foolish person only appears to be a renunciate in form.
Form.
Means he looks just like that, but he's a fake one. He's going to do nothing. Okay, this guy feels like he's going to do business, but I don't see any qualities of it. He doesn't walk, he doesn't talk, he doesn't, show his passion towards it. I see no chance. He's just a fake guy who's just faking up. And so the real businessman is going to identify, the real teacher is going to identify. And that's why it is said if they were truly a renunciant, they
They
should not
not behave
behave
in
in such
such
a
a
manner.
manner.
That is in a careless manner.
Careless manner.
Yeah.
So demeanor and decorum or discipline is very important.
Yeah. So when you're a student, when you go to school, you respect the teachers. When they come, you cannot just walk in front of a teacher like this. You
Yeah.
go, aside, let them pass away, wish them.
Wish them.
See, there are so many good manners that a good student shows. And you can see that there are bad students who are bad in studies,
Yeah.
but they also carry bad manners. I've never seen a good, decent, very, decent boy with good manners being bad in
Bad in
studies.
studies.
Very rarely does it happen. But the other way around, definitely bad in manners, bad in 90% of the chances are that the guy is definitely not liked by the teachers. He doesn't like the teachers. The teachers are trying to teach him, but he doesn't learn. He is the one who does not get good grades also.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Let's
Okay,
continue.
let's continue. The person claims, I am also a bhikshu. I am also a bhikshu. Just like a donkey that wanders into a herds of cattle and proclaims, I am also a cow. I am also a cow. Yet, upon closer inspection, its ears do not resemble those of a cow, nor do its horn, tail, or voice. At that time, the herd of cow may react by goring, stabbing it with their horns, trampling it with their hooves, and biting it with their mouth. In the same way, the bhikshu is also like that. His faculties are unstable. When his eye sees a form, he clinges to its appearance, and his thought scatters in all direction. At that movement, his eye faculty is impure, giving rise to chaotic thoughts, which he cannot restrain. Evil arises in abundance, and he fails to guard his eye faculty. Likewise, when his ears hear sound, his nose smells scent, his tongue tastes flavors, his body perceives texture, and his mind perceives thought. His awareness become afflicted, and his thoughts run wild.
Yeah. So let's stop here and see how beautiful Buddha gives the simile again of a cow,
Cow.
and a donkey. So when the donkey, who is not a cow, goes into a herd of cows and he tells, I am the
I am
cow.
the cow.
The cows look at him. He say, "No way. He doesn't match us. He does. His tail doesn't match. His ears don't match. His voice also doesn't match. There's nothing that is similar to what he's claiming him to be."
Yeah.
Okay, so that person who is not able to guard, okay, himself, his faculties, is something like that. It is very obvious that others can see who are actually of that breed, right? The cows can find out. But then the fun begins. The cows, they start now enjoying that fool donkey, and then what they do is they stab him.
Yeah.
Okay, they trample him there with their hooves, biting it. So many a times, a person who just enters into a faculty, claiming that I also can do something, he is going to be bullied by the masters there. He is going to be tortured, ripped apart.
Yes.
And the guy has to, if he's really from that faculty, he will withstand it. But many a times, the donkey has to leave the herd, because it's going to be too torturing with the real cows taking his test.
Yeah.
So, what happens is, when this guy is not able to guard his faculty, then he is just faking himself up. And a donkey among cows, even the one who is breeding the cows is not going to milk the donkey in any way.
No.
Right?
Yeah.
He knows the donkey is the donkey.
Donkey.
Even the cows know the donkey is the donkey. Only the donkey doesn't know that he is a donkey. He thinks
He
he's a
thinks he's
cow.
a cow.
That's the big problem. And then evil arises in abundance. All the fantasy, all the ideas in the world. He's just dreaming. He's in Alice in Wonderland, and then his awareness becomes completely afflicted, and his thoughts run wild.
Wild.
You understand? Reality is far away. Okay? He lives in a fantasy world, in a world of
Delusion.
illusion. Hence, fear, anxiety, worry, stress, strain, they become a byproduct of such a person's living. Okay?
Yeah.
Let's move.
At that movement, his mind faculty is impure, giving rise to chaotic thoughts which he cannot restrain. Evil rise in abundance, and he fails to guard his mind faculty. Lacking proper conduct and decorum, whether walking, stopping, bending, stretching, lowering his race, and or holding objects, he disregards and percepts. Thus, he is ridiculed by those who uphold the noble life. Alas, does this foolish man resemble a true renaissance? He is criticized and scorned. If he were truly a renunciant, he should not behave in such a manner. Yet he insists, saying, I am a renunciant, I am a renunciant. Just like a donkey that enters a herd of cow and claim, I am a cow, I am a cow. That is what is meant by a person resembling a donkey.
Yeah. You see, again, it's telling that what he talks, what he does not
Does not
match.
match.
But what he claims to be, even after everybody telling him tons of things that you're not doing this, you're not doing that, you're not like that, you're not doing that, he just does not want to listen. He remains that dumbfolded donkey. He still does what he does. You remember how a donkey brays? Have you heard? It
Yeah.
will make a continuous sound, and he proclaims himself to the donkey. He doesn't realize it. Everybody know that is a donkey,
Hmm.
but the problem is that even this person who is going to behave like this in such a manner, and the world knows he's not, is because he's not able to guard his
Senses.
faculties. Okay, he does not know what he's doing, and that is the biggest problem. So if a donkey realizes he's a donkey, I think it's much more better to live your life as what you are,
You are
right? Rather than trying to become a
someone
cow.
else. Yeah.
Maybe as a donkey, you might lift some, weight and do some work to the society, not getting milked by people who know that that donkey cannot be milked. Okay, so it's like that. Unfortunately, today people I heard in a place in somewhere in Maharashtra only, people now are milking donkeys also. Okay, the female donkey, the milk is being sold, and it's being sold at a very high price. So they take the donkey along, they milk the donkey in front, and people buy that for say around 20, 30, 40 rupees, one shot of
Oh
donkey milk. So maybe you see Google around and you'll find there are people like that. So
my
they would
goodness.
prefer to choose the milk of a donkey, okay, over the cow. And now, what kind of people you can call them? Because they are living in the world of some fantasy, somebody telling them something,
And
and
they are
just
believing
believing them without any using their own
on.
faculty of
Yes.
judgment. Okay, let's continue.
What is meant by a person resembling an ox? If there is a person who shaves off their hair and beard, puts on the three dharma robes, and firmly establishes faith to leave the household life and pursue his path, at that time the faculties remain calm and composed. They practice moderation in eating, engage in walking meditation throughout the day, and never abandon contemplation of the 37 factors of awakening. If the eye sees a form, it does not give rise to perception of form, nor does the mind wander restlessly. At that time, the eye faculty remains pure, generating wholesome thoughts and maintaining self control. No evil arises, and one constantly safeguards the eye faculty. The same applies to the ears with sound, the nose with scent, the tongue with taste, the body with tactile sensation, and the mind with mental phenomena. There is no arising of deluded perception. At that time, the mind faculty attains purity.
Yeah.
So,
So here, when you look at it, after the donkey, Buddha also gives you a nice example of an
ox.
ox. Now, an ox, if you look at it, is a very decent animal. It it also carries load, right? It also is like a donkey whose job is there, but it is having some demeanor, some mannerism. You cannot see a ox braying like a donkey, hee
No.
haw, hee haw. No, doesn't do that. It has its own style. So when you look at it, when Buddha says that when you shave off your hair and beard and you take on the dharma robes and you want to lead a particular life, then when you lead that, you have to live that.
Live that.
Okay, because you have led yourself into that, then live it. And how do you live it? By moderation in eating, engaging in walking meditation, and that means actually being aware of what you have chosen for yourself. And when you're aware of what you've chosen for yourself, you have to live that choice. And that choice is the only reminder of you that you made this choice and you have to
Have to
live
do
with it.
it.
One who reminds himself again and again by bringing his awareness on that present moment when he's doing any acts, then when he's seeing things, he doesn't have false perceptions. He will see things as it
As
is.
it is.
When he hears things, he doesn't have ideas and concepts. He knows he's hearing as it is. So when he watches his senses engage with his objects, he knows that he is guarding it. He has self control on it, right? So
Yeah.
when it's like a mountain. When he knows he's climbing the mountain, it's going to be difficult. When he knows that he's going to come down the mountain, it's going to be easy.
Even.
But both ways, he has to be careful so that he doesn't stumble.
Yes.
His approach on the same mountain, but the direction changes it, right? So his awareness. But imagine if somebody is just absolutely dumb and unaware, and he's just climbing up. He's trying to run and he cannot run. He blames the mountain. He's coming down. He wants to stop. He doesn't stop. He blames the mountain. So there are people like that. Those are donkeys. But an ox one is always very careful. He actually guards the faculty of the mind. And when he does that and watches his senses engage with their objects, he attains what we call the purity of the
Purity.
mind.
So even like you gave the example of a student. So if you have chosen to, like, you have to do, you set a target and now you have to achieve it, like you have to crack an exam or something. So you set a goal, and then like the walking meditation, that can be thought as like you have to study the whole day, or even if when you're not studying, you have to contemplate, you have to again remember what you studied, and look where you can apply it in the daily lives.
Yeah, it's like this, Harman. When you're on the ground, you're walking.
Yeah.
When you're in the water, you're swimming. If you try to walk in the water and swim on the land, I think somebody is going to call you a donkey, a fool, right? So you should know what you're doing. When you're going to college, study.
Yes.
When you are in the class, be attentive. Then don't study. You understood? You be attentive. Where you are, what you are, why you have to be that. And when you realize that, you'll be able to contribute 100% to your own self realization and self growth.
Okay. Okay. Let's continue.
Yeah.
This person then approaches the assembly of pure practitioners. Upon seeing him from afar, the practitioners joyfully raises their voice. Welcome, fellow practitioner. They provide offering as needed, ensure that nothing is lacking. Just like a fine ox entering a herd of oxen and declaring, I am an ox, its fur, tail, ears, horns, and voice are all unmistakably those of an ox. Upon seeing it, the other oxen approaches and affectionately licks its body. This is also the same, one who shaves off their hairs and beard, put on the three dharma robes, and with firm faith renounces the household life to practice the path. At that time, the person's faculties are calm and composed. They eat in moderation, practice walking meditation throughout the day, and never stray from contemplating the 37 factors of enlightenment. If the eye sees a form, no perception of form arise, nor does mind wanders. At that time, the eye faculty remains pure, giving rise to wholesome thoughts, and is well controlled. No
Defilements.
defilements arise, and the eye faculty is always guarded. Likewise, with sound heard by the ear, scent smelled by the nose, flavors tasted by the tongue, tactile sensation felt by the body, and mental objects perceived by the mind, there is no arising of deluded perceptions. At that time, the mind faculty is fully perfected. This is what is meant by a person resembling an ox. Thus, O bhikshus, you should learn and be like an ox, does not resemble the donkey.
Do not
Do not
resemble.
resemble the donkey. In this way, O bhikshus, you should train yourself. When the bhikshus heard what the Buddha said, they followed it with joy.
Fantastic. So you see how Buddha is again giving a simile of an ox. When an ox, realizes he's an ox, and he goes in a herd where there are other oxes, okay, and he says and proclaims that I am an ox. The others look at him. Yeah, man, he looks
He
like an
looks like
ox.
an
His
ox.
tail is like us. His looks are like us. His behavior is like us. And so they say, "Welcome, welcome, ox." They are happy.
Yeah,
Now here, not like the donkey who's being, stabbed and hoofed
and
after.
bitten.
These people are licking him. They are becoming, they are like comrades. They are becoming like friends, and they are now a gang because one among them is who has come is like them. And that's why like, we call similia similibus in homeopathy. It's like attracts like. And that's where it is going to be a big team, you can say, where the fact that now they as a team are going to work towards, and what are they working towards is the moderation, the practice of walking meditation. Then they are able to never stray. Okay, good morning, doctor.
Good morning, doctor.
Yeah, we have Dr. Lim joining us. And okay. So, Doctor, today very interesting topic, and we were just remembering you because we are doing the Ekotara Agama, and Buddha is using simile. And let me quickly help you to understand what simile he has used. In the previous chapter 16.3, we did Buddha used the example of a crow, and he said how the crow, and then to compare that with a pig. The crow is very careful, when it does something, it cleans its beak and confesses that it is, clean and is ashamed. By a pig, after doing everything, is still, absolutely not ashamed of what he is doing or she is doing completely. So that was one. And after that, we were doing right now was the donkey and the ox. And when the donkey came in, we realized, the donkey does not realize he's a donkey. He thinks he's a cow, and he goes among the cows, and claims that he is the cow. When the cows find him, he's a donkey. They stab him, they kick him, but he doesn't understand. He still claims himself to be a donkey, sorry, cow. But Buddha says that you should not be like a donkey. You should not be like a pig. You should be like a crow, shameful of the acts you do, and like a ox, more in demeanor as you should talk the walk. Yeah. The crow and the pig. Dr. Crow and the pig. We'll go quickly. The crow, na doctor, the crow has this habit Buddha saw that it eats all the filth, then cleans its beak. So some people they do something, they do a mistake, but they go and confess. They say, okay, this is it, so that the noble ones do not criticize it. They accept their fault. But a pig, it does all, it breaks all the Shila, and it doesn't care. And definitely, even if he doesn't confess, he just boasts about even the wrongdoings they do. So Buddha says that don't be like a pig. That's not the way you should be. You should be shameful of the acts that you do which are not right. Yeah. So we go to the fifth one, EA 16.5.
Just before that, so here when the
So, doctor,
ox,
we finished those 16.3 and 16.4. We are now going to 16.5. Is it okay that we continue? Yeah. Okay.
so in
Yeah. No problem. Okay. Okay. No problem. Yeah. You can continue.
in 16.4, when the ox goes to a group of ox, so here we can see they provide offerings as needed, ensuring that nothing is lacking.
Yeah.
So means that when you have the right sangha, there is an abundance of like the whatever you need, it is there, you
Yeah.
flourish.
Yeah. So the support system is always there if you do something right. So Buddha says among the ox, if an ox goes, you will always find the other oxes also supporting you. So a good sangha, a good team is when they get support. So I think we go to 16.5.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. 16.5, the unskillful. Thus, I have heard, one time the Buddha was staying at Anandpindida's ashrama in Jetwana of Shravasti. At that time, the Bhagwan said to the bhikshus, I shall now speak about wholesome and unwholesome actions. Listen carefully and reflect upon this. The bhikshus replied, Yes, Bhagwan. The Bhagwan said to them, What is called unwholesome? What is called wholesome? Killing is unwholesome. Not killing is wholesome. Taking what is not given is unwholesome. Giving is wholesome. Sexual misconduct is unwholesome. Abstraining from sexual misconduct is wholesome. False speech is unwholesome. Refraining from false speech is wholesome. Frivolous speech is unwholesome. Refraining from frivolous speech is wholesome. Divisive speech is unwholesome. Refraining from divisive speech is wholesome. Causing discord among others is unwholesome. Not causing discord is wholesome. Coveting what belongs to others is unwholesome. Not coveting is wholesome. Harboring ill will is unwholesome, and not harboring ill will is wholesome. Wrong view is unwholesome, right view is wholesome. Thus, bhikshus, having committed these evil deeds, one falls into the realms of animal, hungry ghosts, or hell. If one engages in wholesome actions, one is reborn among humans in the heavenly realms or in other good destinies, such as the realm of the asuras. Therefore, one should abandon the evil deeds and cultivate wholesome conduct. Thus, bhikshus, you should train yourself in this way. When the bhikshus heard what the Buddha said, they followed it with joy.
Yes. Doctor. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
the wholesome one, the good one, the unwholesome one, not the good one. Okay, so he always discarded the bad one, follow the good ones. That is the main teaching here.
So,
And that is a true practice of Sunya.
so, doctor, to simplify, if you break the Shila, it's an unwholesome practice. If you follow the Shila, it's an wholesome practice. If you break the
Yeah, that's
Shila, if you break the Shila, you will be put down into the realms of animal, ghost, and hell. But if you practice the Shila, you have a chance to be reborn as a human or Asura or Deva also. Is that right?
yeah, yeah. No, even let's say even you practice the breathing, you practice punya, practice meditation to a few hours a day. Some people they practice about a few hours a day, okay, but they never observe stira, useless. You achieve nothing. You achieve nothing. Okay, so remember, no? Okay, so this observing stira is the most important thing. That's why here they put so much importance on that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think, Doctor, this was the last verse for today, but we will open the floor for questions, if any. We
Yeah.
can,
Yeah.
but
You know what? Because I in Singapore in a hotel now, you start another meeting soon, you know.
no problem.
Okay. So I think we pick up some cases.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If any questions here, you have any, Harman?
No.
You have any, Rucha? No.
Any questions
You?
online?
So
No.
I think, Doctor, there is no question, but the summary, Doctor, I was telling, let's quickly summarize from your side, monkey and donkey. I think we should not be.
Yeah. The 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 donkey thought that he is a horse's law. Okay, this thing. The crow think that he's a good bird. No. Some people they don't realize that oh okay yeah. So I'm going to start my
Okay, okay,
I'm
Doctor.
going to start my main meeting soon. Okay.
Okay, thank you
Okay.
so much.
So
Thank you so much.
Thank you, doctor.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
bye bye.
Yeah, thank
Bye
you.
bye.
Uh, So this is the beauty, in his busy schedule, even that few minutes,
Yes.
okay, a few minutes to just get into that conversation of listening to the words of the Buddha, getting that little fuel for your own upliftment. I think that's what matters. And I think this incident that you saw now, you witnessed now, that how Dr. Lim, is trying to give this primary importance of upgrading yourself,
Yeah.
upgrading your wholesomeness, okay, and not breaking down yourself into unwholesomeness. Because once you're broken down, you will be shattered and you will be born into the realms that will be leading you to more suffering.
Hmm.
But when you gather yourself and become wholesome, you have a chance to float up into the higher realms, including the human realm itself, which is a great
Great.
chance. So, what you have been born right now as a human is because definitely there has been a lot of work that has gone for you to qualify to be a human today. And there will be a lot of hard work as a human that you need to do to qualify to become a human again, or to become an asura, or to become a deva.
Devma.
Yeah, and there will be a lot of work to be done for you to get out of this realm, okay, so that you don't come here because of conditional manifestation, but you come because you would like to make a choice to come, take a vow to help sentient beings, other beings, and that's the ultimate thing. So the only way of deconditioning yourself is to do nothing, because the mind keeps on doing things. You see, the donkey, the crow, the ox, the
Pig.
pig, they all programs. They're doing what they are supposed to do. They're the good ones and they're the bad ones, okay? And we don't want to be the bad one. We want to keep on doing the good
Good
one,
one.
never fall down into the unwholesome act cycle, okay? So if you look at it, this is a complete manual that Buddha is saying of how one should be cultivating his wholesomeness. By what? By refraining from false speech. He can actually condition himself to become wholesome. So refraining from false speech, he's not telling talk goody goody. He's saying just don't talk something that is irrelevant.
Yeah.
If you guard your speech, you're guarding the mind. Okay, so very, very important. Then he goes on refraining from frivolous speech, that again, Vanity, just irrelevant. Not only guarding from false speech, but even frivolous, which is just like casual talk also, which doesn't have any sense.
Sense.
Do not waste your energy in that too, right? This is the same mouth that can chant, the name of the Lord. This is the same mouth that you should be guarding for any frivolous speech, because if it's like, spelling has the ability to spell, cast a
Yes.
spell. Okay, similarly, when you speak, you're already conditioning yourself to manifest those things. So when you then divisive speech that breaks things, breaks relationships, misguides people. So wherever the division thing of differentiation come, you have to guard that speech. Okay, then you have to understand that you have to give, in sexual misconduct, abstaining from sexual misconduct. You should abstain. That is very important. So he's telling you, do not fall into that trap. Okay, then he's going again, he's saying that not causing discord means disharmony in the society. Don't become that person who causes disharmony in the society. Do not be covet, do not have that feeling of jealousy, hatred, and all those things against people. That is the way you actually cultivate your wholesomeness. It's all about
Not
not,
done.
you see.
Right.
Okay, not harboring ill will is when you will become wholesome.
Wholesome.
Okay. Then not having the wrong view is when you'll become wholesome. So that's the right view. So you look at Shunya practice is about not. And that's when you will one day become wholesome.
Yes.
And that wholesomeness is where you will experience your highest state. And that's where peace will prevail and prosperity will knock your doors.
It's very beautiful that it's not telling you what you should do, it's telling you
Yeah.
what you should not do.
Not do. Because you see, a fool, like a donkey, the donkey, it does. We tell him, don't do. A fool does. We tell him, don't do. That not doing is the problem. People still do. They keep on doing that. Because a wandering mind, a foolish mind, a deluded mind, a mind in complete illusion is going to do something that need not be done. Okay, and that's where the whole problem happens. So a wise person, a person on the path of nirvana, a person who's looking at liberation and self-realization, knows what needs to be done and does it. The fool who is actually not on the path of nirvana, he does not know what to be done and yet does something, and that's the problem.
Yeah. It's very it's very beautiful and it's very concise, but it's very
Absolutely. So you look at you as a physiotherapist. When you look at person, when he comes with a long-standing problem of say backache, and you realize this person was not walking straight. He had a particular way in which he used to walk. That is the result of all 10 years of walking in a wrong
wrong
way,
way.
had a wrong
Wrong
footwear or
way.
wrong style. That is why he has a change in his spine. He is,
There's a muscular imbalance and
Absolutely. You identify it and then you tell him, hey, be careful. I think you need to change your orthotics. You need to have a change in gear. You need to also be careful. You need to come to my physiotherapy sessions. I'm going
yeah.
to teach you. Now, a person who knew how to walk for so long, ignorantly, you're telling him by giving him knowledge how to walk with awareness.
Yes.
Okay, isn't that what you do as a physiotherapist?
That's what I do.
Exactly. So when you look at the way of healing or getting out of suffering is awareness. And for awareness, you should know what you're doing.
Very, very important.
Yeah.
So awareness should be everywhere, whatever you
Absolutely.
do.
In everything you do. That is why Buddha, if you look at it, he is telling how you sit, how you talk, how you walk, how you
Yes.
sleep, how you eat, how you carry your robes, how you hold your bowl, everything with complete awareness. You cannot just be casual.
Yeah.
Casual people go to casualty. You have casualty in the hospital, they are taken there. Only the ones who are in awareness will thrive. They will never go to casualty. So don't be casual about life. Don't be casual about your body. Don't be casual about your feelings. Don't be casual about your thinking. Don't be casual about your own consciousness. These are the four foundations. These need to be always there as your foundations in which you cultivate your smriti. That means your remembrance. That's your awareness. And without those foundations, you cannot. And that's why Satipatthana Sutta that we study in Shunya is very important for you to remind yourself that body, feelings, mind, and your consciousness do matter, and you should always be aware of these four. And with this, you will be aware of your wholesomeness. And your wholesomeness is the ultimate thing that we seek through the practice of Shunya.
Very true. And also this, when we tell people that you should do nothing, so it just clicked my mind, and we are also telling them what not to do.
Yeah.
So we are just telling them what not to do, and we are telling that you should not do all this. Is apart from this, you can do whatever you want, and it should not just not break Panchila.
Absolutely. You see, a gambler who's going and he's suffering because he's gambling, he's losing money, he's doing this. We tell him, hey, don't go and gamble.
Yeah.
Now, that's the most difficult job for him not to do. You understand? You're drunkard. He's drinking so much, he's falling on the road, he's hitting his family, his wife, his kids. He cannot see the suffering of them. We tell him, hey, don't drink. A smoker, tell him, don't smoke. Is it so difficult? Yes, sir. Not doing is more difficult than doing. You understand?
Yes.
So that is the challenge. And in Shunya, we program you so that you guard your faculty, you guard the mind, so that what needs to be done is done, and what need not be done is not done. That is the power of Shunya. So you have to practice the art of not doing certain things. Okay? When you practice sitting there not doing something, haven't you got that master power, the amazing power of not doing things?
Yes.
And I think if you can learn to say no to things, I think a lot of yeses will start getting converted.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And also there was this Field Marshal Sam Manekshaw. He used to say, a yes man is a dangerous man.
Yeah.
So you should not always say yes. You should know when to do something and when not to do something.
Yeah. All yeses will lead to all messes. With all no's, you will know everything. Yeah.
Very true, very true. That was a really nice ending to the session. Oh, we have a question here.
Yeah.
Three dharmas had come in.
Yeah.
Can you just please?
Three dharmas. I think the three dharma robes. So dharma robes is in those days the bhikshus used to wear basically their robes, okay, and that uniform. So they used to carry, like if you look at, this is a dharma robe. So kimono, they keep three kimonos: one that they wear, one that they are washed because they wore that, and the one that is their backup so that they can change, because one will take one day to dry. So they used to do this three robe thing, and that was enough as the only necessity that they had, and they used to live with that. So when you become a student and you wear the three dharma robes, you have taken that choice to live in that limited supply. Now, don't crib about it. Don't start calling yourself that you're suffering because of that choice of yours, because it was your choice. You shaved your hair, you shaved your beard, you wore the three dharma robes, you decided to come here and study, you decided, and it was all your choice. Nobody forced you. Then when it was a choice, how can the choice be suffering? You have to live by the choice.
Present, past, and future.
Sir?
Present, past, and future.
Huh.
This present is what I'm wearing.
Yeah.
Okay. Future is what I need to keep it ready.
Yeah.
And past is what is already used and it has to be.
Yeah, but you don't discard the past like that. So dharma robes, if you say that I will discard my past, no. What I need to do is, that is regarding the robes, that you have promised to live by. Like for example, you promised to wear the kimono. You will wear it whenever it is necessary, because now you have chosen. But you wear a kimono and break the Panchashila, that will be wrong, because then why did you wear it? You could have not worn it. You could have not come to Shunya. You could have not decided to even practice Panchashila. Don't then remain a donkey. Na? Don't go among the cows. You be among the donkeys. Donkeys will still appreciate you. They'll lick you. Every donkey will lick another donkey. That's their community. But don't try to go into the herd of cows and expect them to lick you. Sorry, they will not, unless you transform yourself and you become a cow among themselves. So you will have to transform yourself. If you want to achieve this peace and serenity of a Buddha, you will have to be like one. You'll have to practice like one. You have to understand like one. You have to practice like one. So only then can you become one like him. But if you don't care for that sitting posture, you don't care for the peace that you see in him, you think, no, that's not what I want to seek for, then nobody's going to force you to do that, right? You can continue what you're doing, right? So that's a choice that one lives with. And I think that choice is what makes a person to choose his way of living. And that's fine. Yeah.
And the choice makes us human.
Absolutely. Either your choices are right or wrong, that time will decide. If you are happy with your choice, it was right. If you are now suffering, that was a wrong choice. and then you have another choice to correct yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the animals don't have a choice that I should be a cow or I should be a donkey.
No, they are born in that, So the lower realms of the animal, the ghost, and the hell, they are without choices. The human has some choices
Some
and some
choices.
no choices. But as you move up, you can get more choices. And the devas have all the choices.
Very nice.
Yeah.
And the three dharma robes, they can be symbolized of dharma, Buddha, and the Sangha.
Yeah, you can say that. But when he's here in this context, what he's saying is when you have shaven, when you have decided to wear the three dharma robes, you have to take that vow and you have to live with that. Okay, you can interpret it as a Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha also.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now that you have taken the vow, you have to manage and utilize all
At
the
least keep your
resources.
vow. Be a man.
Yeah.
It's like that. You make a decision, then live by the decision. If you cannot make a decision and cannot live by it, I don't think so. You're worthy of any relationship. Not with others, not even with
With
yourself.
yourself. Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
So, any
Yeah.
ending note you would
So
like
I
to give?
think the animal kingdom is a beautiful kingdom that teaches us what not to be done.
Yes.
And I think if one realize it, I think like the Buddha was very observant, seeing the way the crow, the donkey, the pig, and the ox, and how they behave. And there are many more animals that come in this. And I think they don't mind when we quote a donkey, they don't mind, and neither is the crow getting affected. So they are more safer than quoting another human being.
Yes,
Okay,
definitely.
so since they don't hold any bias against us, I think Buddha was very smart to take a neutral example of the animal kingdom, which we can see ourselves and testify for ourselves. I think that's how you have to learn that we don't want to become one of that. Okay, we want to gain the awareness, we want to get the skill set that we live in complete awareness, guarding our faculties so that they don't go astray. When the mind does not go astray, then we are able to cultivate the peace and calmness that we seek out to do our duty. Right? At the end, the bottom line is doing a duty. Right? So
Doing
that's
your
it for
duty.
today.
Okay. Thank you very much for the beautiful ending note. So we talked about guarding. So you should be in charge of what you should do and what you should not do. So even guarding, when you do 9 to 0, you are guarding your breath. So that's the first step that you can take to at least guard and harvest that awareness that you are guarding something or not. So I hope you practice your 9 to 0 every day at least, if not more. And even that we are fortunate enough to born in a human realm, we have some choices. So we should at least progress and not go to the animal realms of the hell or the living of ghost. So we should at least progress and we should cultivate the guarding and the awareness. Okay, so that's it for today. We will see you next week. Thank you so much.